My finger's gonna be in it a little bit.
That's okay. Recently, the US has seen a 600% increase in a certain dietary lifestyle. And it's not paleo, it's not keto, and it's not Weight Watchers. It's veganism. Veganism is a solely plant-based diet that completely eliminates the use of meat, dairy, and other animal products, including eggs and butter. This is a pretty extreme diet trend, and lots of people have chosen to kind of exclude it as being too extremist or too aggressive. But when we look at the ethical components, the environmental components, and the health components, it's a little easier to see why some people have chosen to follow this diet trend. There's a lot of common misconceptions around being vegan, and one of them is that you can't eat anything or that vegans eat grass, which, although it's a lot harder to find vegan sources of food, especially when you're eating out, some of the things that you can focus on are fruits, vegetables, grains, legumes, nuts, and seeds. Personally, in my experience with being vegan, one of my favorite things that I have incorporated in my diet is quinoa, which is a complete protein and a grain. As far as ethical components, vegans are known for rubbing these in everyone's faces and being a little too aggressive with them. But when we really look at the science and facts behind the animal product manufacturing in the US, it's pretty easy to see why. Every day, 150 million animals are killed to provide for the meat and dairy industries. And while it's easy to say that dairy doesn't contribute to the meat industry, most all dairy cows are killed once they are unable to produce milk anymore, so they directly contribute. One of the major effects of a vegan diet is that the number of animals that would be killed a year to support your diet goes down by 95. When spread out over a lifetime, this increases to a number of around 70,000, which is pretty significant when you actually think about it. Another major ethical reason that many vegans choose to exclude animal products from their diet is the living conditions in which the animals are held. Most animals are held in extremely unsanitary environments where they're often covered by their own fecal matter and have little to no space to move. Many chickens are debeaked to keep them from fighting, and cows in the dairy industry and the meat industry often develop infections so severe that pus and blood get into the milk supply. In order to combat this, the dairy industry and the meat industry have pumped animals full of antibiotics, which prevents them from contracting these bacterial issues. However, these antibiotics often go into our water supply and are distributed to the normal population. While this may not seem like a big deal, the overuse of antibiotics leads to the development of antibiotic-resistant strains of bacteria, which can cause more difficult diseases to fight. Another aspect that many vegans look at is the environmental impacts of veganism. One of the major ones is the greenhouse gas emissions that come from the animal product industries. Cows especially produce a gas called methane from a bacteria in their stomach that help them to digest grasses and other plants that would be harder for animals to eat. When combined with the manufacturing and industry greenhouse gas emissions, the dairy and meat industry contribute 20% of the human-caused greenhouse gas emissions. This is a super significant number, as when we break it down by countries, it would place them third in the world if they were a country, right behind China and the United States. Another one is the water that is used to produce animal products. It takes about 20 times as much water to produce 1 calorie of beef as it causes to produce 1 calorie from vegetables. Something that many people seem to be concerned about as far as the diet without any animal products in it is the health effects that it will have on you. The American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found in 2009 that there are actually many more health benefits to a vegan diet than there are against it. Some of the potential positive effects of a vegan diet include lower average body mass index and decreased chances of cancer, cardiovascular issues, diabetes, and osteoporosis. There's a lot of debate behind the nutrients that you can miss out by becoming vegan. Some of these include vitamin B12, vitamin D, and calcium, all of which are beneficial to maintaining an overall healthy life. In conclusion, there's a lot of stigma around being vegan and being over-aggressive with it. But when you look at all the different components, it's easy to see why some people choose to live this diet. It might be more expensive and it might be less successful, but it has overall been a positive experience for me.